the color ranges are a little bit different, but Koreas are usually what you go for. It's the best. They're the most advanced in the whole thing. And then you have the Chinese knockoffs. They're like $1 a piece, and it's something that burns out. In 3 months, you're going to have 2 or 3 LEDs that are going to go out. So it's in the long run, Koreas are the ones you're going to get, or the Luxions or the Philips.
So the ones on the left are the white, and the ones on the right are the clear blues?
Yeah, these are going to be, well, these are whites. These are whites, and they have greens and reds. Right
There's a
blues are very hard to find, and then these are the ones that have the full color range. Where you're going to get your whites. You're going to get 3 or 4 different types of whites. Right. You're going to have your royal blues. You're going to have your regular blues. You're going to have the reds and greens. So these are pretty much what everybody's going to be picking up. And then if you want more intense whites, you're going to be going with the with the MCEs or the XPGs. These are they're more efficient. So if you could swap them out, I would get these with whites and these with all the blues, and just build your picture that way. And then your drivers. We're going to go over just 2 of the drivers, the most used, which is your buck pucks, which tend to use less LEDs per buck puck to go power, and they come with a potentiometer, and also built on to go dim it, and yeah, they support up to 6 LEDs, which is great for small projects or small runs of LEDs. Your buck pucks are the way to go. They're cheaper,
and they're small to LCC.
Yeah,
they're much smaller than the mean wells.
So they produce less heat, stuff like that. The mean wells are bigger. You can run up to.
This one, the mean well is right here. This one. Okay. You see, it's much bigger.
And the mean wells come in 2 different versions. You have your regular constant current, which except for 700 milliamps, and then you have your dimmable versions, which can go dim down, analog. But there's a lot more involved in just and dimming them out as far as power goes and power supply. Each of these drivers need to be supplied. Each ones have different standards. Buck pucks usually come where you have to get your own transformer, depending on how many LEDs. So if you have a full line of 6 LEDs, you're going to want a 24 volt to go and control the LEDs and your potentiometer. So you're going to need to power each one. Each LED has a certain voltage rating, which determines your power supply. So most Cree LEDs are going from 1.3 volts to 1.5 volt. So if you have 6 volts, also the six LEDs, you add that together, and then that determines your power supply.
Will they ever be controllable with that? Like I got a computer software system with that I want it to turn on at a certain rate and then slow down at a certain rate.
They actually have it. They have the Arduino, also the controllers are all you plug into your computer. You write your own program. Right. It's all scripted. It's the kind of stuff that Aiken Lighting uses.
Stuff like
that.
I mean, storms.
Right.
It gets extremely complicated if you want it to.
Yeah.
There's also like
you want a simple tank, you got a simple tank. But you want all the things and whistles, you could same thing.
Like I personally use the Apex controller, and I use the sunrise, sunset as well. You can choose how many minutes and what intensity to start and the end intensity. And yeah, you just type the number 65%, that's it, and or 100%, whatever you want.
With Apex control, you can do that.
Yeah, with the Apex, there's plenty. We're going to go a little bit more into into reef controllers and using them as them. So you can use your reef keeper light along with the tuner's controller to go control your LEDs. And ways to make it simple, so you can make your light complicated but integrate it into your current system if you have one of the reef controllers just like that. So. The next thing is cooling. I mean, this is probably the most important thing than finding what LEDs you want or what color range you want is how you're going to be cooling them. And that is getting your heat sink and getting these things properly. This is what a cool LED is. A happy LED, and a happy LED stays alive a lot longer. It's not going to burn out. It's not going to dim down. You're going to get more hours out of it. So if you're spending all this money on a fixture, you're going to want to cool it the right way. Usually it's with the heat sink, and there's a fan blowing on the heat sink or blowing off the heat sink to go cool it down.
But you need to have a bigger fan for the blade. The blade is cheaper, but you need more fans to cool it because LEDs are getting pretty hot, pretty easy. But the good thing about that is that they're getting hot from the bottom, not to the tank, from the bottom. So the heatsink is pulling out all the heat, and when you put the fan on it, it's gonna blow and it's gonna pull out the heat. That's a good thing.
It's not metal halide heat, but it's enough to go start destroying your LEDs, which you don't want. You're spending $4 to $5 per LED. You don't want to waste. When you're mounting the LEDs, it's you use either the thermal adhesive or you use screws and you use thermal paste, the same stuff they use on computers to go mount heat sinks to your CPU. If you guys computer stuff. And it helps transfer the heat better over into the heat sink and away into it. So cooling. And once you get your heat sink, all that stuff, it's planning, spacing, and the amount of lights you want to use per square inch. It's usually, you use about 2 inches, about 1.5 to 2 inches for your whole setup. So, you know, if your tank's 30 by 30, 2 inches space, that's how many LEDs you're going to need. It's pretty much that simple. You're going to want to go mix them together. 10K light is about 1:1, also with royal blues to the cool lights on any of the LEDs. If you bump up the blues, you're going to want to add more blue to have a bluer tank. With 20K, you're going to be going, you know, like 3 to 1
Or you can dim them to your light.
Yeah, that's the other option. You could also split them up and just dim down the light once some more blue comes through. But that's also with controlling and also other options and other ways of building your LED light. Yeah, so
closer than 1.5 inches. Is that bad in any way?
No, it's a more intense light.
It's
so
more
you'd be
intense
adding
light.
more
You're
light
gonna
into
do
the
a
tank.
spotlight. You don't need that many lights.
You want
That's
it
all.
to overlap, basically, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, that's another thing
Yes.
too. So if you go further apart, you'll see spots in your tank that are blue and white.
You can space them more closely to each other, but it's just more money.
Okay.
You need more LEDs.
I wouldn't space the LEDs farther than 2 inches apart,
Sure.
unless without optics. Without optics and you're doing maybe fish only, then okay. But if you're doing a reef tank, you know, I would do at most 2 inches apart, and preferably less. Especially if you use optics, then you want less.
Yeah, there's no real way to go say, oh yeah, use this optic for this depth light. Each tank is different, so you're going to want to try different things. So when you're building your fixture, you could easily mount them like this or single and just pop them on with some tape just for now and play with the different lenses, with the narrow lenses, the bell lenses, and see what works for your tank and what you want lit up. You know, you might just want certain parts of your tank lit up, so you could move the LEDs closer together, where you want it to. Around the edges, you don't need it too much. So yeah, you see, you know, the nice organization of everything, which is important. And wiring. Typically, the only way, the simplest way is wire all your LEDs plus to minus. It makes it a little hard when things go wrong, but you're only running 6 to 12 LEDs per strip, so you could just quickly test each one out to go see what's wrong. But there's plenty of information online with diagrams and, you know, for LED lighting to go hook everything up.
Just want to add on, if there's ever the LED that goes wrong, a quick test is use a simple 2 AA batteries. I just use this thing where it holds 2 AA batteries together. You can put the positive to a positive and the negative to a negative, and it'll show you that it's working.
If the LED is working or not.
If it doesn't light up, then
Yes.
yep, even when it's wired in.
Which is nice. Yeah. So what else? You want to wire your drivers last. You don't want to be soldering and also working. Huh? But they usually do. You can. Set the video so you can see what works, what goes through. When the LED goes, it's just the diode breaks the contact. So yeah, it would show it right away.
And each star is usually marked with the plus minus signs, so it's easy to see where you should solder the things.
And when wiring, you want to go group together your blues or your XPGs all together, or you want to go and just all your whites in one area. Just so if you are going to be controlling it, or further down the line, you want to go change out your driver, you can go and dim them down a lot easier, or change them, or do something like that. So it's
Turn them off if you want just the blues from the lights.
So each separate set is organized in a certain way, just to make your life easier and also the picture better. So your optics, you're not going to really know the optics until you start putting it on. So usually for a tank that's 24 inches deep or 20 inches deep, you're going to want to go with the 80s. It's going to give you a nice big spread. If you want something more specific, you go with like a 65. Anything less is going to give you a spotlight effect, which is You can see spotlights. If you shine a flashlight in your tank, that's what's going to be happening with the lens. So you want a big spread.
Blue and white spotlight separated.
What's the best idea?
About 80. 80 is the
80s,
usual
yeah,
size.
yeah, 80.
Yeah, and that's going to go flood your tank with, so it's either 80 or you use no lenses at all. That's going to go flood your tank. The 80 is going to go drop the light further down into the tank, while no lenses, it's going to wash your whole tank with
The
color.
XPG comes with a pre-lens that's 120 degrees. So it's a lens too. Yeah, and you can also get XPG lenses for it too, like 80, 60 degrees right now. They're making 60 degrees and 40 as well. Yeah.
If you do use 40 degree, I would suggest no more than 1 inch space between LED.
That's the angle closer.
Yes.
To be honest,
There's
with
no
you,
real science to
you
see
don't
which
need
one.
that much light. You really don't need that much light.